day for the boys. All looking a bit tired. Water change day anyway, so need some refreshing. What do you think, Jelly Bean? He's not got much to say for himself. These were parrot branches from Pets at Home, being sold cheaper because they didn't have any fittings to go on cages, but absolutely perfect for me. I've glued Java ferns on, and I'm going to glue some more on today. 3 pots from a local garden centre. I'm going to break them up into individual pieces and glue them on. I'll leave those to dry, give my hands a really good wash, and then get on with the rest of the tank. I like to have live plants floating on the top. There's a little bit of coverage against the light. I'll pop those in some water for now. And then put them out of reach. Otie, leave it. Good girl. Of a little duck dog who would love to go tolling in there for weed. It's getting a bit tired. The weed's lived well enough, but it's not thrived on it, so I'm going to take this weed off and put it onto the wood where it'll be much happier. The artificial plants can have a really good wash off. These go back on the back of the tank because I like the look of it. This one I might have a bit of a rethink and see what I can do with them. So looking incredibly scruffy in there, with sediment having come out of the pots, etc. But Jax doesn't look too bothered. Time to take about 50% of the water out. This pump is brilliant, and I will run that all through the sand to get all the horrible stuff out. Right, you can see it sifting through the sand. Okay, Jax, I'm getting there. Jelly Bean was my rescue, and he's always been intrigued by the Hoover. I've topped the water back up, turned the filter on, added Seachem Prime, and I will now leave the very good external filter to do its job, and then come back to get things sorted in here. I've also washed all drips off the woodwork and the glass, because obviously all of that helps your tank stay in good condition for longer. Now they've settled a bit, there's a good chance to clean the sides of the tank. Nicely, I'm going to use a net to take a little bit out of the sediment out that's left on the bottom. Okay, so it's clear enough now for me to start putting things back in. I try not to leave everything out too long because they do get quite agitated. They prefer to have some hides in there. So that's the artificial plants back in. Initially I didn't want any artificial plants, but I have to be realistic. I work long shifts and the tank has to be practical. These plants give them plenty of coverage, plenty of places to hide, and they have lots of real ones too. So that's the real plants in, with enough room to move around them, but giving plenty of coverage and hidey holes. I've already changed my mind. I'm going to bring the pot further over to the left and put that live log, the smaller one, further over to the right. Happier with that. What I'm looking for, I like the back to be covered. And that gives a really nice hidey hole in the corner with that cave. I like upside down, filling the gap in that corner. So if I pop it in, he sits nicely against there. There we go. You see how that fills that space? Now I started doing that because when I first got these wooden frames. They didn't sink, they still floated, but I'd already planted them up, so I had them upside down across the tank to keep the plants wet whilst the wood absorbed water so that it sank down. Leave floating plants back on the top to do as they please. And it's now just a case of waiting for the water to clear. There we go, so the tank's being redressed. We have happy axolotls in their living cave. That is really improving. It will take until tomorrow morning until the water's fully clear. But that's the tank cleaned out, redressed. Branches or living caves replanted. I'm really happy with how they're looking. And the boys look to be happy too. When I came down this morning, I decided that they needed another level in. I like them to have as many different places to lounge on as possible, and mine make absolute full use of it. So I've put the terrapin platform back in. It had fallen off previously, but with the sucker on the back and balanced, wedged in a corner on top of an ornament, I think that should be absolutely fine. So that is the tank completely redone. I won't take everything out like that again for probably another 3 or 4 months. Obviously they have their water changes, etc. weekly. So that is the tank replanted, and that's how I make artificial plants and real ones work for me. Lottie is waiting for his breakfast, so I better go and get him some wormies. I hope that's given you all some ideas. If you follow OT Adventure Toller, you can keep up with my gang. Thank you.